He hit him right as Ryan was throwing a punch and had himself fully extended. He caught him with a perfect body shot. And I think that a lot of people underestimate. And I saw Regis Prograis send out a tweet about this saying, people underestimate. It's one thing to get hit in the body when you see it coming, like at the UFC, a guy gets kicked in the body. He's ready, he absorbs it, but it still hits his body. But when you're fully extended and your arm is out and you're leaned over in a certain way and you get punched in the ribs that hard or in the liver, wherever he got hit, it's like crippling and debilitating. Initially, it's easy to think maybe he quit there. It looks like he could have got up right at the 10 count, but it looked to me like every time he tried to get up, he kind of tried to catch his breath again, where he was just seemed to be frozen. I don't think he quit, but I'm dying to get your thoughts on how you think he looked, his reaction. He got up right on the 10 count, but I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on whether he quit or whether he was like legitimately just frozen with that body shot. But lots to discuss here.
Yeah, only he knows, as far as that. So I won't speculate on that too much. I'll just give my experience to kind of color in a little bit around it. But only Ryan, I'm not in his body. You're not in his body. Nobody out there is in the body or in his mind or in his heart. Only Ryan is. So it's between him and God. As some people might say, as far as what actually transpired. But we can put things in context, in history. I asked Rob to reach out for some videos. My son got them for me, so I sent them over to Rob, some clips to put up there, and he'll put them up, where it plays on both sides of the coin, so to speak, where there's been people, first of all, historically, a punch to the liver is one of the most crippling, debilitating punches in the history of my sport, our sport, boxing. It just is. And there's been many, many, many fighters that have been conquered by that punch. Many. Go back to my mentors, fighter Jose Torres, who won the light heavyweight title. He was a silver medalist from the Olympics. Shui Torres. He won a title against a really good boxer, Willie Pastrano, but with a liver shot. So it goes, and that was all the way back in the 50s. So it goes back forever in this sport, that it is just a damaging, as I said, the right word, debilitating punch. And a lot of fighters have been conquered by that punch. But there's fighters that have also overcome it. See, I always like to give a full x-ray of everything. I think people look for that on this show, to be quite frankly, from the two of us. And so I asked Rob to put up some, and you'll see some of them up there, where there have been guys, and they've been hurt by the punch, just like Ryan was, and like everybody else in the history of the sport that gets hit with it. Nobody, it's everybody's kryptonite. You get hit there. There's no protecting. Some people out there say, oh, you should do more sit-ups. No. You get hit on that organ, there's no protecting. Only protection is keeping your elbow in, not getting hit there, blocking it. But and the rest of it is just a matter of, how badly you got caught, and how flush, and your mental state. Your physical, but your mental state, your will. It goes to those places. If you can somehow find the resolve, to survive it long enough to be back in a fight. And there have been, as I said, there's been some, and I wanted the fans to see those. One of them was Arturo Gatti, the late Arturo Gatti, God bless him. He was a warrior, and he got caught in that epic, iconic ninth round in their first meeting between Ward and Gatti. That ninth round was one of the greatest rounds in the history of the sport. And there's been a lot of great rounds. That's up there in the top 5, maybe the top 3. And it was that good. It was that incredible. It was like reading a novel. I mean, different chapters of people's lives right in front of you in one round, up and down. And it was back and forth. Ward was just a great deliverer of that punch. He knew how to get it in there clean. He knew how to set it up. He knew how to pinpoint it. And he caught him with his forte, with his, Sunday punch. The left hook to the liver. And, man, he was paralyzed for a second. He being Gatti. He was paralyzed. He was gripped by that pain. I mean, it just grips you. It strangles you like a python in the jungle would drop out of a tree and strangle the life out of you, the breath out of you. That's what it does. And he was being, the breath was being strangled out of him. And again, you could feel it almost. It was almost palatable where you could feel his pain. You know what I mean, Ken? When somebody's like, it's like you go, yourself. And he was about to go down, but he didn't go down. He found a way. He found a way not to go down. And he survived it. By the end of the round, he was coming back and he was having his moments. You saw it with another guy. I'll tell you, probably would never get this kind of credit anywhere else. But Keith Thurman, who's a terrific boxer, terrific fighter. He's not active enough. He's had injuries, everything else. But this is a guy that was hot for a while there. And he fought on ESPN against Luis Collazo on my air on ESPN. And it was the first PPC fight, I think, with their new contract, the new deal with ESPN. I called the fight, and he's winning the fight handily. And then Collazo, I forget what round it was, but he catches him and left hook to the liver, and he hurt him. Again, of course. But he ran. He ran like a thief. But a thief not stealing from you, a thief that didn't want anything more stolen from him. That's different. That's different. And he ran until he recovered, and then the next round he was able to get back. And so again, the point I'm making is it's a devastating punch, but there's people that have not survived it. As obviously added to that list now is Ryan Garcia. There's people that have survived it, and I just gave a couple of them. There's other ones out there, but we gave a couple. And what I also put out there, which Robert put up, is the impact and the results that many people have felt, obviously besides Ryan, where they don't get up. And the ironic thing about it is this one was his promoter, Ryan Garcia's own promoter, De La Hoya, when he got hit with that punch against Bernard Hopkins.
Bernard Hopkins.
And he was...
I remember that one. I was at that fight.
He was withering, were you? He was withering in pain. Withering. See, that's the differentiation here for me. I'm not saying you have to be withering in pain, but it was obvious that De La Hoya couldn't get up, I guess you could say. I usually don't say that because you never know what a human being could do. You never know. You never know. We are special sometimes. We can be special. We can find ways. We can go to uncharted courses in our own universes, if you will, at certain times. So,
that's right.
Listen, he, with getting back to De La Hoya, De La Hoya, that was more of the picture of what you almost expect. Like the guy, as far as you could see, like he can't get up. Like he's writhing in pain. He's crawling around on the canvas. But that wasn't the case with Ryan. Yeah. And again, I don't know either more than what I'm putting out there. I'm using my experience just to put it all out there. He did jump up right at 10. And that does make some people, as unfair as it might be, because they haven't been in there, they weren't in there, they might never be in that situation in their lives. But, it makes it unfair, but life is unfair quite often, where some people say, hey, he jumped up at 10, So, and look, who knows what was going on in his mind? I tell you one thing that I do know, there was something going on in his mind. There was something, because you could see it. You could see it. You could see it.
He was looking around.
No, but there was something going on in his mind. And then he made a decision. A lot of people might say his body made it. But at the end of the day, we make it. We control the body. We are the general to the soldiers of our body. And at some point, he made a decision. And I'm going to go back to another. I'm going to ask Rob to get this video too. And I think it's perfect. It's not a body shot, it's a head shot. But I think it speaks volumes to what you just touched on and what I'm touching on here now, where we're going kind of deep. But we go deep. You got to go deep in these things because it's not always on the surface. It's below the surface. I'm going to go back to Tyson Fury, which made him a zillionaire. That fight, that getting up made him a zillionaire. It did. He doesn't get up, he's not a zillionaire. And he's not Tyson Fury to the way that the world knows him now. The world does know him now. And his story has been epic. But it was his first fight with Wilder, the best puncher in boxing. Not the best boxer, but the best puncher in boxing. And he gets caught, he gets dropped in the 12th round. I believe it was the 12th round. And as you would say, he looked like he got shot with a 12-gauge shotgun. You know, he's laying there like it's over. Thankfully, we had the right referee who didn't panic, he did the protocol, he did the count, he went through the steps, the procedures, the proper procedure, and it gave him a chance to have the life that he has now, and to have to tell the story that he could tell now, that I just touched on. And he gets up. But he laid there that felt like an eternity. Must have felt like an eternity to him. It felt like an eternity to a lot of people, almost like time stood still. And he's laying there.
That's a good description.
And he's laying there, Ken. And I said this on one of our podcasts. People could go in archives. They could find it. It's all out there. And what I talked about was, it was a lesson for all people out there in the world that, and I always say that, boxing is life. The life is a fight. And that I always try to connect the dots with the fight that somebody out there might be fighting, in their own way, in their own private world, their own private battle. And I talked about how there's always time to get up. No matter how many times you've been knocked down, no matter how badly beaten you might feel, there's always time to get up. It's not over till you say it's over. And there's always a chance to get up. And that was a perfect example of that, where Tyson Fury was laying there like he's gone. And while he was laying there, I said he was thinking. He was conscious, obviously, he got up. He was thinking, do I get up or don't I get up? Do I live or do I die? And listen, I don't mean literally die. You could die in different forms. You can die where emotionally you die, where you're not alive anymore, where you stop trying. You're dead.
You could stop trying to keep running. You could have a business that's floundering and you're like, I can't take another month of this. Do I shut it down or do I just go all in and keep going?
Exactly.
Just keep going.
There's different phases of dying. And you die, like I said, emotionally. You die where you're just existing. You're no longer living. That's dying. That's being dead. That's a walking dead man, basically. So he was laying there and he was thinking, and I said this, and it turned out to be this great motivational video by Sam Rivera, where I said he's thinking, his life is passing in front of him, and he's thinking, do I or don't I? Is it worth it or is it not worth it? Do I lay here and no longer exist, or do I say no? No, I want to exist. I want to more than survive. I want to live. I want to live! And bang, he jumped up. And that's what I'm talking about, people. This is the stuff that I'm talking about. And I'll be honest with you. A lot of people are knocking the technique of Garcia. His technique's not good. He's got flaws. He's got flaws. He's got defensive flaws. He's got this. He's got that. A lot of great fighters have those flaws, and they still overcome them. Some don't, but a lot of them do. And they still, because mentally, I always talk about 75% of this business is mental. 75% of life is mental. You're fighting life, no matter what that fight is. It's mental. It's mental. It's mental. And if you're strong enough mentally, you can overcome those other deficiencies. You could be perfect in those other areas, but if you're not strong enough mentally, you're not going to succeed at that level. You're not. Not when the moment comes. And so, yeah, people will be knocking and saying, oh, the trainer should have corrected these faults. They should have, all those things. But part of the process, part of the trainer's job is not just to fix the body, the technique, the physical part, but the mental part, to understand that part, to guide them in that part, to strengthen them in that part, to move them in that part, to see what they have to see and to recognize and face what they got to face and build in those areas. And there's very few people in this business that can do that. There's very few people in this business that even understand that. But the fighters understand it. At some point, they might not articulate it the way I'm articulating it, but they live it. They feel it. Tyson Fury lived it. And he's living the dream now, if you will. I hope his life's good. I hope you never know how someone's living behind their doors. You don't. But I hope to God it's good because he deserves it to be good. Because he got up. He made the choice to get up.